y'all? It's your boy D. I'm here with my man T and my big dog Drew. And this is Saturday Morning Traffic, the greatest podcast, not the latest podcast. And today, lo and behold, he hasn't been here in a minute. He has been off saving the world, saving kittens out of trees, fighting fires. You know what I'm saying? All that good stuff. Dr. Ortiz is back in the building, and today we're going to talk about NBA what ifs, such as, if this player didn't get injured, would they have made it to the NBA finals? If this player was on this team and that trade happened, would they have made it to the NBA finals? Just a whole bunch of stuff. You know what I'm saying? We're going to mix it up like salad. You know what I'm saying? And palate your palate. You know what I mean? So, yeah, let's jump into it and let's see what's popping.
All right. Absolutely. There he is.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
How you been?
Yeah.
I'm doing great. Just looking forward to talking some ball with you guys.
I know it's been a rough week for you, but we're always here for you, man.
Appreciate that. My grandma, no one was closer to her than I was, and so it's definitely been a rough week, but it's a good way to end things off to talk some basketball.
Absolutely.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, glad we could be here for that. Yeah.
Well, let's get into it. And hold on. All right. This is the top 3 biggest what ifs in my opinion. And as a group, we chose this, guys. So I'm gonna first go. As everyone can see, Penny Hardaway, Derrick Rose, and Grant Hill, all-star and elite levels, and Derrick Rose being the youngest MVP ever. I'm gonna go to our guest, Mr. Dr. Ortiz. Just break it down on these what ifs, and what do you think about this list that we created here?
Well, this is an interesting list because each one had something special about them, even from them starting their NBA career. Like I remember Penny Hardaway coming in and him being so dynamic. Like he was smooth, and he wasn't like he was just something fresh. I remember those Penny Hardaway commercials that you'd see with him and with Little Penny, and Chris Rock was doing the voice for Little Penny, and used to love that. And then you paired him with the invincible Shaq.
Yeah, running.
With this young, like built Shaq that was just a force who was breaking backboards, and you put them together. It was an unbelievable duo, and so there was so much that we didn't get to see from him towards that tail end because of the injuries. But then you see Grant Hill coming out of college. Everyone was calling him the next Jordan. He was. We're talking about this man can do everything that Jordan. He was athletic. He could shoot. He can drive. He had this tenacity to him. I mean, he was just nasty. He came into the league putting everyone on notice. And just, it seemed like every year, injury. And then we didn't see him for like four years, it seemed, because he was out. And even still, after he came back after injury, he was still a problem.
Yeah.
Now, he wasn't the same problem, but he was still a problem. And then obviously Derrick Rose, and we've known more about him because of he's the more recent problem that we've had with injuries that, I think you just said earlier, we're talking the youngest MVP. This guy, he had unbelievable body control, like in the air, being able to move his body and move at such a fast speed and to be able to stop on a dime. I really don't think anyone in the NBA in all history could do what he did as far as controlling his body. It was just something unbelievable. And so with each one, we saw something that could have been incredibly special, but it was just cut off because some sort of injury here and there. And really, unfortunately, it happens so often, but rarely do we see it with big stars like this.
Go ahead, Drew.
No, that's one heck of an opener for this whole conversation. I think about when you talk about the injuries and how, it happens so often, but it doesn't happen so often to stars. And I mean, typically we think about the best case scenarios like, Paul George and even Kevin Durant recently. What's his name at Charlotte, who played at the Celtics? Help me out, guys.
Gordon Hayward.
Yes, Hayward. Those are kind of some best case scenarios of career post an injury. But yeah, definitely these careers were cut short. I remember when Grant Hill was actually signed to Orlando after that 4-year kind of layoff, and I was like, okay, this might work. But then the injury plague came back, and yeah, that one was tough. I think something. I mean, Orlando and their GM moves as far as like getting injured players, because they got Grant Hill when he was injured. They got Gilbert Arenas when he was injured, and I was like, man, like we have to fix
Victor Oladipo too.
Well, he wasn't injured though, but
yeah, he wasn't injured, but it just his career kind of stopped there.
yeah, it did. He had to get out, unfortunately. But yeah, Derrick Rose, yeah, that one. To see, and I look at Derrick Rose and Penny Hardaway kind of the same, as far as they kept playing after the injury, but it was just like, I look at Derrick Rose now, he's averaging about 14, 15 a game. He might score 50. We would never know, but, it's just, it's never the same. And I mean, he could be a number 2, a good complimentary player, but yeah.
Go D.
Moment of silence for Derrick Rose's career, man, because it died that night, man. That fateful night when he had that injury, bro. Like, just because like there was already controversy of him coming into the league with the Memphis Tigers, saying that somebody took his test for him or something along those lines or whatever. So he already had controversy coming into the league. And it's like, I don't care if somebody's got to take my test or whatever. Just get me in I don't want to meet Jay-Z, put me in a room with him. That's basically how I felt when Derrick Rose got to the league. Like, it was just, okay, he's here now. He's letting he's letting it be known, like, I'm a force to be reckoned with. And just the way that he was balling, you're just referring to the body control, like he was a contortionist in the air. And it's really hard to have body control in the air. As far as like, when you're like when you see like Vince Carter dunk and he's able to do the whip, you're limitless, like you're weightless. So for you to be able to move your body at the drop of a dime, like Dr. Ortiz was saying, like that's incredible. And then when you look at the way that he was able to score, like he almost had a Kareem-esque hook shot, like the way he would just throw the ball up and it would just, just file down and go straight in. Like it was crazy. But I remember watching that game with my grandpa when the game he got injured. And my grandpa's just like, yeah, he ain't never going to be the same. He just called it right there. He said he ain't never going to be explosive. He ain't never going to be the same. And just like year after year after year, he kept getting injured. What as far as Grant Hill is concerned, I actually watched the whole entire like 30-minute video about him getting his injuries. I think it was between his foot and his ankle. He just kept having issues. And it was to the point to where like if you keep playing basketball, it's going to get infected. And it's going to affect your overall health as a person, like just in general. And it reached a point where it was like, okay, if I keep playing basketball, I'm going to basically die is what it's like, kind of like how it was how it was translated to me. And I was just like, all right, cool. No more Grant Hill. I guess we don't get to watch him, and if he was on the right team, he could have easily just been a bench rider and got a ring. That's one of those guys that you like Charles Barkley, like you wish he would have just at least gotten one ring so everybody could just shut up. And, Penny Hardaway, I feel like his injuries ruined his career, but I also feel like same thing with Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady and a few other players. When you get that Jordan comparison, it's almost like a curse more than it is a gift. Because most cats that play basketball that say, oh, he's like Jordan. Oh, a couple years later down the road, they either they either fizzle out or they get injured and their career is just over. Or they never really amount to anything. It's just a bunch of accolades and no real success. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about the whole thing. Like, it sucks. Like, but the Derrick Rose is the one that hit me the hardest because that's the one I actually got to witness.
Yeah. Going off what you said, I don't agree. Like, I'm always disagreeing with you though, so it's all right. But when you say compared into Jordan with Penny Hardaway, that's false. He was more compared to Magic coming into the league. Go ahead, Drew. What's up?
No, I thought he was just saying that someone threw a comparison. Like somebody, I remember Dick Vitale one time threw a comparison to Victor Oladipo, a Jordan comparison when he was in college.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
yeah,
people throw that out like candy sometimes.
no, I feel you. I get what you're saying. Like Penny Hardaway was one of that guys where he's just so ridiculous, and that's why he got the Magic coming out of college. Like even Shaq didn't even know, he only got to the Magic because of the movie Blue Chips. Like, let's all be real about that. If it wasn't for Shaq in that movie, Penny Hardaway probably obviously would have went to a different team. But like his like dynamic of driving ability, hitting the shot, and his passing, like, I mean, that's all Magic, right? Except he was a better shooter than Magic. So we've kind of seen his style before. When you come to Grant Hill, in a way, like he reminds me of a mixture of Jordan and LeBron. Meaning he can score. Like he when he was in Detroit, he could score like no other. But he was pass first. He was LeBron before LeBron. Obviously not the physical attributes being just hella ridiculous, but just the comparison of his passing ability, his scoring, his driving. It's right there with LeBron. Obviously LeBron came later, so that's why they when LeBron came in, they kind of compared him to Grant Hill. But out of these three, the one that's uncomparable is Derrick Rose. Like that's like we've never seen that before, right? I mean, if you can compare it now, yes, Russell Westbrook is the closest, but Derrick Rose was the most explosive. Don't look at me like that, D. Like
you're tripping, bro.
All right. For Derrick Rose, who is the closest comparison to Derrick Rose?
As far as point guards are concerned,
Anybody.
Just players in general, Bradley Beal. It's definitely not Russell Westbrook.
What?
It's definitely not Russell Westbrook.
I don't know about
I'm going to tell you why it's not Russell. Hold on.
Are you serious,
I'm going to tell you why it's not Russell Westbrook.
Hell no.
Listen. If you put Russell Westbrook in a 12-foot ditch and tell him to shoot until you get out, he'll never get out because he's going to keep on shooting.
Derrick Rose wasn't a good shooter either.
Yeah, Derrick Rose was a streaky shooter.
Yeah.
Okay, but guess what, though? Derrick Rose was efficient. Russell Westbrook is not.
Well, Derrick Rose was more efficient than Russell, but they were equally bad for efficiency. Like
here's the problem. When
athleticism too.
Well,
but Russell Westbrook. Okay, go ahead. I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
When we talk about Russell Westbrook, we see him in the last few years.
Yes.
But we're forgetting that Russell Westbrook was a major problem the last
mid-range shot.
4 or 5 years ago. He was nearly unstoppable. He can drop dimes. He was shooting at a much better percentage. He was driving to the lane and getting whatever he wanted. He was probably maybe the third fastest player in the NBA at that time.
You're right.
But at his size, there was no one that was going to stop him at that size. And so we see him in this short amount, which does remind me of Derrick Rose. However, Derrick Rose was just a different animal altogether.
Yeah.
But see, the thing about Russell Westbrook is a lot of people don't know is when he played for UCLA, he was initially playing shooting guard.
Yeah.
So when he got drafted to OKC, he got pushed into the point guard position. So he's a natural shooting guard playing point guard in an offense that allows him to do whatever he wants to do. because there's nobody else in the team that's efficient enough to like they can score.
And
They
how
can do
is
what
that
they're
different
supposed to.
now?
Hold on, let me
Yeah.
finish. So if you're naturally a shooting guard and you're put in a point guard position and you're not pass first, what do you expect? How do you expect the offense to flow around you? You see
Hey,
what I'm saying?
D,
Like
let me ask you something.
you're in a dynamic that's not necessarily built. That's not necessarily built for you to fulfill unless you do it on your own. And we all know that after Russell Westbrook knocked his stats to get the 20-20-20, you know, when he was doing his whole triple-double year, after that, he's done. He just lets off the gas. Do whatever you want. I got my stats. Do whatever you want.
See, I don't like that. I don't like that. What? No.
And that's what I'm saying.
No,
Derrick
no, I
Rose
don't
wasn't like that. Derrick Rose gave you Derrick Rose all 4 quarters.
If you think
That's all I'm
Russell
saying.
Westbrook was just all about stats, you're crazy.
Nah, I just think it's
no. Ah, all right. So no, Russell Westbrook is the type. Russell Westbrook is the type where he wants to tear your head off during a game, no doubt. Okay, so it's all about winning with him. Yeah, he's putting.
Kobe even said Russell Westbrook had the same mindset he did.
Hero basketball. That's how you lose. Hero basketball. Jordan had the same problem. Kobe had the same problem.
Wait.
Bro, you are on meth right now or something, bro.
Hero basketball?
Like, oh.
I can agree with that, the hero basketball thing.
That's how you lose.
Here's the thing. I don't feel like Kobe was just all about hero basketball. Like,
but what I'm saying, but we all know that Kobe was playing hero basketball after Shaq left. And when Phil got into the picture, and Phil told him, look, it's a team sport. He became more of a facilitator. He started passing the ball. He would still have his Kobe moments. Don't get me wrong. It's just like Jordan. Jordan wasn't that great the first 8 years of his career because what? He was playing hero basketball. Right. After the Pistons whooped his ass and he got his mind right and Phil came into the picture, that's when he started winning championships. That's all I'm saying. Hero basketball does not win, and that's why Russell Westbrook does not have a championship.
First of all, they had the Jordan rule. Let's all remember that.
He had the players. So after the Shaq period, there was a stretch where they didn't have who they needed to win.
Exactly.
He dumps all the points. Then the Lamar Odom, Shannon Brown, Fisher,
Caron Butler.
Caron Butler
was nasty.
Al got there. That little, what was it? Was that 10? 09?
That was 09. That was 09, 2010.
Yeah.
Well, no, 07, 08, 09, 2010, I believe.
Yeah. That
because then that's when LeBron got the back-to-back after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Kobe, right after Shaq left, the next best player after him was what, Derrick Rose or Smush Parker?
Ooh, I remember Smush.
I remember oh my God.
Of the Slam magazine. I had that. Yep.
So he didn't really have anybody that can actually take the scoring load off of him. So it was up to him to facilitate the offense. It was up to him to draw the defense. It was up to him to score the ball. It was up to him to slap everyone's butt at the end of, at the bench. He was doing everything.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Out of all three, if, for example, they retired, they did 20 years, all three of them, no injuries, who has the better career?
Grant Hill.
Oh, it's well, I know Orlando has at least one championship. I'll say that.
I say two.
That's all I know. So
I say Penny.
I would say Grant Hill.
I'm gonna say Rose. I'm gonna say Rose because if you look at how things funnel down, if Rose gets one chip by himself, and the years and time goes on, Anthony Davis at one point said he wants to go play home. Dwayne Wade said he wants to go play. There's a lot of Jimmy Butler comes into the picture. Like it's a lot of pieces
that
had
Jimmy Butler and lost.
It's a lot of people that file into that Chicago system over time. You feel what I'm saying? And who's to say, you get that magic phone call. Mr. 23 wants to stop by and get a couple chips. You just never know. I'm picking Derrick Rose just off the strength of the NBA I know right now.
I could see AD going, yeah, for sure.
You see what I'm saying? It's I can't really speak for the 90s and all that era. I could just speak for me seeing Derrick Rose play up until now. If he wins one chip by himself, like how Dirk did, other players are going to want to come and play with
I
you.
wouldn't say Dirk won
Guaranteed.
it by
At that young,
himself. Dude, Jason Terry had a big finals. He had a big hand in that. So I wouldn't say Dirk won it by himself. He was the man.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, just to see Dirk wheel it like his whole team with just one superstar.
Do we forget that Penny Hardaway in his first 3 years was 2 of the 3 years he was first team? Do we forget that?
I didn't know that. That's a super analytic. I didn't know that.
Did you? I mean, like he's guarding Jordan. That was the last. That Magic team was the last team to beat Jordan's Bulls in a playoff series.
95.
Yeah,
That's when they went to the championship.
Yeah, the year they went. Yes, when they had like that's what I'm saying. I mean, like Penny. That's when after that, and then Shaq left. That's when he started getting injuries. But he was on pace to just be so ridiculous. Like,
but you know what? A part of that, you got to give that to Horace too. I think Horace coming in that locker room pissed off at Jordan definitely made it.
No. That's I'm talking about the 2 first team selections. Like, that's him. He took that team. Like, the reason why Shaq wanted out was one, how they were treating him, like not paying him, obviously. But 2, you kind of saw it in just like in LA. They were butting heads with Orlando, with him and Penny Hardaway. Because like what Devon was saying, little Penny came out, he had his own signature shoe, the Nikes, all this, right? So he started butting heads. He wanted out, boom. Then he goes to LA. Now he starts butting heads a couple years in, starts butting heads with Kobe. So when we talk about another thing, they went to the finals, and then in LA he won championships, but we also talk about people not getting along with their teammates, superstars. Kind of got to look at Shaq at how many championships he would have if he kind of dialed down that ego too.
But I don't think it was just we can talk about that on the next topic, because I definitely need to cut into Shaq. But
I think you guys are sleeping on Grant Hill though.
Open the door.
Because
Open the door.
Grant Hill was.
Hold on. I'm doing something right now. Hold on.
Grant Hill was probably one of the best all around. Like, he was a better shooter than both Penny and Derrick Rose. Now, he wasn't as athletic as Derrick Rose, but he was probably on par with Penny. He was averaging, he came into his rookie year averaging almost 20 points a game. I mean, I think had it not been for injuries, I mean, every year he was going up, and then he got hit with the injuries. He went from 20 points a game all the way up to like 25 points a game. Plus, he was bringing in 5-6 assists. I think his high year, he was bringing in almost 8 assists a game. I mean, we're talking, he was an all-around player. This guy, he came in, he had a good team too, a decent team too, coming into the league. I mean, Theo Ratcliffe was his center. He had Joe Dumars was his point guard, who's a veteran point guard who was comparable to like a Derek Fisher, having a Derek Fisher or something like that with him. He had Michael Curry. I don't know if you know any about Michael Curry.
Yeah.
He just has some sons that can shoot the ball like crazy. Steph and
Curry.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
Hold on, wait a minute. Who is Michael Curry? Did you create him on 2K?
Sure.
No. Michael Curry was the shooting guard. I'm sorry. Michael Curry was the shooting guard, but he was raw in himself, averaging almost a good 10 points a game for himself. So I mean, this guy wasn't a bad player either. Allen Houston, Lindsey Hunter. These were good players on the Detroit.
I didn't realize that Detroit team had all those players on there. Like when you
They-
run the names down, it's like, oh shoot.
these are like legacy names that we don't really know about, but these guys were ballers.
Mhm.
Lindsey Hunter could shoot the ball like crazy.
Yeah.
And so I believe had Grant Hill not gotten injured, I could see Detroit getting maybe 2 rings. They were a problem, and so I honestly believe that if we would be talking about Grant Hill the way we talk about Kobe,
I can see that.
had he had that career, we're talking 20 years, had he had that career, we'd be talking about Grant Hill the same way we talk about Kobe, how amazing it was, and to see, the highs and lows and all this stuff. That would have been Grant Hill, and it would have been for Detroit.
Gotcha.
You know what? I think this segues into another conversation that's relevant today because it's being implemented. It's the play arrest situation. Had that been applied to back then, because it was really frowned upon back then, I remember from the commissioner. But I mean, we could be looking at franchise altering situations had they got, okay, I don't know, a 10-game rest pack for, I don't know, throughout the season or something like that. Like they have no problem resting LeBron because they know, okay, playoffs and finals ratings are going to shoot up because he's going to be all in. But back then it was like, hey, people paid to see these players, so they got to get on the floor. And so
Talking about Derrick Rose real quick, because it was his knee, right? It was his knee.
I think it was a few things. Wasn't it at one point? Wasn't his back? Yeah.
Because I know when we talk about athleticism, we talk about Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook's name comes in because, remember, he's torn his ACL and came back stronger and then averaged a triple-double. Like that, I think it was that Christmas game he tore his ACL. And I think it was against Miami because it was a whole thing because they just played each other in the finals or whatever. So they had them on Christmas the next year. And he tore his ACL and at halftime, and he finished the game, even though he tore his ACL. Like, to me, that's crazy. And then he bounced back. So it's just like, do you look at tearing an ACL? Because when Rose got injured, how many years was that difference? Because the medical, how it's come so far, I think when Westbrook got injured, and if they had the same medical, I think you could have seen Derrick Rose recover just like Westbrook has from injury.
You know what? I think Derrick Rose played so much harder as far as him like trying to go in the paint. Like, not saying Westbrook doesn't, but I just felt like
I think he invited contact where, yeah, Russ does go for contact, but he does a lot of euros to avoid the contact at the same time.
yeah, I don't know. I just feel like Rose really looks for contact, and that was like kind of how he would get going, and then he might shoot and do other stuff. But like, I like to see his shot chart, like where most of his shots come from.
All right.
Rose talked about how when he came back, he had to adjust his game because the way he played before was almost with reckless abandon. And he talked about having to adjust his game, that when he drove to the lane, he wasn't going in not caring about getting hit, but now he's going in smarter, not necessarily trying to avoid the hit, but now trying to get hit in a way that's not going to cause, a massive injury type of thing, and how he adjusted his game in order to be able to play that way. And, he was playing incredible a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And so I think there is something to be said when you're that athletic, learning how to use a little wisdom in your athleticism. Because even now you look at the big problem, Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin has been trash essentially for the last couple of years because his game was so centered around his athleticism.
Yeah.
And now that he has to be more of a skill player, it's difficult for him to actually play. And then when he goes back to trying to be Mr. Athletic, he's getting hurt.
Yeah. Like, man, to me, it's just like, and Penny was that guy. I mean, that was before Kobe came in. That's who I like looked at, just because he could do so much. He could do everything too. Like, him and Grant Hill could do everything. I just think, I think, you know what? I think I will take Grant Hill because Grant Hill could do as much as Penny, but Grant Hill wasn't playing with Shaq either. So just taking that, I think I kind of have to do that because Shaq getting double, triple teamed, it gives you wide open. If that's a lot easier than, Grant Hill having to do everything, same thing. So, but man, all three, man, if they were healthy, they definitely be, I mean, even though Grant Hill got into the Hall of Fame, do you think?
I think the Magic would have been a dynasty, bro. Just based on the pieces that they would have got, because eventually they got Penny Hardaway. He just magically stays healthy. If he stays healthy, Shaq stays. If Shaq stays,
I don't even think Penny stays. Shaq is leaving no matter what.
Let me finish. I'm saying in a perfect world, if Shaq stays, eventually they get McGrady. McGrady's gonna stay if they're already winning championships, and you just keep adding from there.
McGrady doesn't go there if those two stay.
You don't think so?
No, he got traded from the Raptors.
But when he got traded from the Raptors, he had a choice to where he was going to go, right?
No, it's not how contracts are now, where they get to choose where they go.
This is not after this.
Was that a draft pick for McGrady?
McGrady got drafted by the Raptors. That's how him and Vince Carter played together. Then he actually,
I'm just saying, what was the trade?
I don't remember. He kind of forced his way out and says, "I want to go home," though. And I know it was a trade. But yeah, man, I just think like if any of these, man, it would be special. Definitely. Now the question is, does Penny or Derrick Rose get into the Hall of Fame?
Derrick Rose is going to the Hall of Fame, absolutely.
Why do you say that?
Just strictly off the youngest MVP catalog, like just off the youngest MVP.
Off of one season.
Bro, Allen Iverson is in the Hall of Fame, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Allen Iverson has how many rings?
Well, he got to a finals at least.
That's not what I'm saying. How many rings does he have?
Yeah, 0.
I rest my case. So Derrick Rose definitely has a case to get. He has a case
Allen
to
Iverson,
get into the Hall of Fame.
Allen Iverson had a greater impact on the NBA culture and in the NBA than Derrick Rose.
That's fine. But Derrick Rose can still get into the Hall of Fame.
I'm not saying they won't. I'm just saying, like, because Grant Hills was cut short. Do you think? I don't know how many tries. Devon, do you remember how many tries Grant Hill had to go through?
I don't. I have no idea. I know. What was it?
I think
he only got in a few years ago, right?
Yeah, I think the difference between Grant Hill and these two players that pushed him into the Hall of Fame was his college career. I really think that's the only reason why he's in it right now is his pro career and the college, because he went to 2 Final Fours, won 1, and he played 3 seasons.
Yeah, but Grant Hill was Rookie of the Year, and he made it to 7 All-Star teams.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm just saying a mixture, but yeah.
So that very few players make it to 5 All-Stars, let alone 7, and be Rookie of the Year. So. And I don't know how many. I think Derrick Rose has only been to a few All-Star games, and
Penny same because injuries. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the difference for Derrick Rose is he's got an MVP, And that right there can catapult him. Plus, after he came back, he had that time where he was basically catapulting Minnesota into being a formidable team. So I think I could see him possibly getting in on a second ballot type thing.
All right.
I'll rest my case.
But let's transition.